Welcome back, team. How's it going? I hope you're feeling fantastic wherever you are in the world. I hope you have a big old smile on your face, a good feeling right here. And if that's the case, you know what to do. Pass that on and help the next person feel just as happy as you are. In this video, I show you how to unlock the onboard computer on your BMW E38 or E39 and how to geek out over every single feature that it has to offer. In last week's video, I installed an E39 M5 cluster into my E38, and right now I'm going to show you step by step how to unlock that so you can see all of the features that it has. Start by inserting the key and turning it to the first position. Now press and hold the right button for about 5 seconds. You'll see Test NR01 appear on the screen. Press the left button. This will display your VIN ID. Take the numbers that you see and add them up. Remember that total. In my case, it's 30. Press the right button again until you reach Test NR19. Press the left button and you will see Lock On. Press the left button again until you reach the number that you added up earlier. In my case, it was 30. After you have the correct number, press the right button. You will see the display show Test NR01. Congratulations! You have now unlocked your OBC. With the OBC unlocked, you're going to have a total of 21 different tests that you can perform on the car to get different degrees of information about what the car is doing at the present moment. Now, this is where it gets a little bit curious, a little bit geeky, because a lot of these are redundant and some of them you don't even need, but I'm gonna run through all of them and give you a brief breakdown of what each of them do. If you want to take your time and read into them a lot more, I'm going to link the website below of where I'm actually pulling this information. So if you have any questions or anything that I have missed, please put it in the comments down below. Test number 1 seems to be basic information about the car, like your serial number, when the car was made, things of that nature. Test number 2 is an instrument test. Now, this is a really cool looking test because it allows you to see all of the needles and all of the lights on your dash come on at the same time. Only perform this test when the car is not running. So make sure that the engine is off for this one. Test number 3 is the current fuel consumption in liters per hour. Test number 4 is your average fuel consumption. Test number 5 is the range remaining given the current fuel consumption measured in kilometers. Test number 6 shows you the current fuel levels on both the left and the right side of the tank, along with the total fuel capacity in liters. Test number 7, you have the engine temperature, or what they call the core temperature, your current engine RPM, and the outside temperature. Test number 8 is your current speed in kilometers per hour. Test number 9 is your current battery voltage. Test number 10 appears to be just the country of sale. Tests number 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 are all parameters that I know nothing about. If you have more information about those, please feel free to comment. Test number 16 is the oil temperature. Test number 17 and 18 are again parameters that I am not informed about. Test number 19 allows you to lock the cluster again. Test number 20 is the correction factor for the fuel consumption meters. This is basically a number that allows the computer to calculate your MPG. And test number 21 resets all of your values and locks the OBC again. Now that I've given you a brief explanation of what each of these things do, let me actually show you how they work in the real world as I'm driving my car. Of course, I'm doing this in a controlled road with permission from the cops. So there's way more information that I would ever want to bother about learning in this computer, but there's a couple of them that I think can be really helpful during everyday driving. For example, right now I have range 92 miles, as you can see here. Now, that's not part of that hidden OBC menu, it's just something that the car gives you. Now, 92 miles, cool, but we can actually go into the OBC and see if that actually matches up with what the car says. So you would press to get in, again, press and hold the right button, and then move over to 5, which is your range in kilometers. You're gonna press the left button, and then you're gonna press the left button once again. Now it says 159 kilometers. Now I'm no calculator, but 159 should be a little bit more than 92 miles. I don't have enough information to know which is correct, if the 92 miles or the 159 kilometers. So if anybody knows, please feel free to chime in the comments below. So we're gonna go over to test number 6. This shows you the current fuel level in liters. And it's gonna have 3 numbers. The first number here is the level on the left tank. The middle number is the level on the right tank. And then the last number is the total level with both tanks combined. Now, let me be a little bit more specific. There are not 2 tanks. It is a single tank divided into a left and a right section, each of them with their own sender. Now, the cool thing that I find about this is that it moves as the car moves. So if I were to come to a stop or go over a dip, you will see the numbers move in real time. So it's real finicky like that, which I think is kind of cool, in my opinion, again, because you see the levels moving. It's the liquid sloshing around. Again, this is just something for you to know. If maybe your fuel gauge is not working properly over here, maybe it's broken or something, you can at least unlock the OBC and look at your fuel levels this way. If you ever want to get a true reading from this, make sure that you stop your car and you let the fuel settle for a few minutes to get the best reading. Now at this point, I'm sure you've noticed this light right here, the 2 cars following each other. If you know, that is the ACC light. And if you don't know, please stay tuned and I'll cover that a little bit more in depth at the end of this video. So my next test that I want to show you is definitely my favorite test. It's going to be test number 7. Now, test number 7 has 3 values. The first one is going to be your core temperature. Now, the core temperature is, I believe, the temperature that the engine is operating at. It is not the oil temperature, and I don't think it's the coolant temperature either. But if anybody has more information on this, please leave it on the comments down below. The next parameter there is going to be your engine RPM. Again, this is a little bit redundant, but I think it's super cool. So it shows you exactly digitally what this needle shows you. As the needle goes up, you see that number go up. That is your current engine RPM. And the very last parameter is your ambient temperature. Again, a little bit redundant. That is in Celsius, but it should equate to about 63 degrees Fahrenheit. 3 parameters, definitely my favorite test. The next test is test number 8, another one that I think can be helpful. Test number 8 is simply your current velocity, but it's your current speed in kilometers per hour. Now, all of these values you're going to have to, again, translate to either Fahrenheit or miles per hour. So 45, 46 kilometers per hour should be about, what do we have here, 30 miles an hour. The next one after that is going to be test number 9. Test number 9 is a really helpful one, more so in like troubleshooting and diagnosing if you have a problem with your battery. this is your current voltage. As I'm driving, as I'm using my headlights, my stereo, whatever I'm using, it's going to dip. It's either gonna go up or down. Right now, under these current conditions, I just came to a stop. It went down to 12.6 volts. It is back to 13.8, 13.7. So again, this is the current value of your voltage for your battery. I think normal, when it's fully charged, it should be just above 14. When you're city driving or freeway driving, you should be looking at about 13.5 or above. And if when you crank it though, that's one that you can pay attention to. When you crank your vehicle to start it, it shouldn't dip below 9 volts. So again, this can be really helpful if you're chasing electrical gremlins, or if you know your car's doing something weird with the voltage and the electricity. And the last test that I want to touch upon is something that can be really helpful if you don't have the upgraded cluster like I do. Test number 16 is going to show you in real time your oil temperature. Now, I have the oil temperature here on this gauge because I just swapped in this M5 cluster, but if you have your E38 with the stock cluster, it doesn't have that. Instead of this, you will have the current MPG, and the needle will move as you press on the gas pedal. So this is really helpful again if you don't have this cluster that I have. You can actually see in real time your oil temperature. That can definitely be helpful. That's gonna be more of a helpful thing if you're driving your car at high speeds or if you live in a really hot zone. So something like Arizona, somewhere where the temperatures can go really, really high. Not only do you need to be aware of your coolant temperature, but you also need to be aware of your oil temperature for the engine, since it also helps cool the engine down. But there it is, oil temperature, 96 degrees Celsius, which should be about, what is that, 210-ish, maybe around that range in Fahrenheit. Again, very, very helpful to keep an eye on that. Now, those are the features that I think are the most helpful whenever you're driving your car. All the other features, if you're like a super nerd, then you might find those helpful, but they are kind of over my head. Now, the light that you saw on the dash, let me talk to you about that real quick. That light only came on when I unlocked the OBC. Now, let me say this. I have unlocked the OBC on a previous E38 and that light never came on, but that was the stock cluster. I am not sure why that light is on or how to even turn it off. So I'm actually going to have to talk to Fixels and see if they have a solution for me. But I did look into what that light is. So ACC is a really cool feature, is active cruise control. Active cruise control not only helps you determine the speed that you're driving, but it also helps you determine the distance. So when you initiate cruise control, you set it at a specific speed that you want. With active cruise control, you can also tell the car to set itself at a specific distance from any car in front of it. So if you're driving and all of a sudden you're going a little bit faster than the car in front of you, when you start getting closer to it at your predetermined distance, the car will automatically brake and keep an exact distance that you tell it until the car in front moves out of the way. Then your car will resume to the speed that you had it originally set to. The light comes on when it detects a car in front of you, and it goes off again when you resume your cruise control. It's called active cruise control, a really cool feature, especially back in 2001. US cars, as far as I know, were never offered with that feature. It was only an overseas, it was only a European feature. But trust that I'm going to be looking into possibly getting that installed in a future video on this car. So keep it tuned right here because I think that is a fantastic feature and I definitely want it now. But the light is on. I'm gonna see if I can turn it off for the time being. But it's not that big of a deal. To be honest with you, it doesn't bug me that much because I know that there is nothing wrong with my car. It's just a random light. Well, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for staying till the very end. You're a trooper. I appreciate you wholeheartedly. I will see you on the next video. But until then, please be good to each other. Peace. And right now I'm going to show you step by step how to unlock your cluster for maximum moistness. What?